A tribute to Batman the Animated Series is here in the form of this majestic and incredibly ambitious new LEGO set. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my review of LEGO set 76271, Batman the Animated Series Gotham City. A super unique set, considered a love letter to the animated series, and for good reason. It is packed with Easter eggs, details and much more, all of which we're gonna check out, including all the reference material. Is it really worth $300 though? Let's find out together in today's video. This was not sponsored in any way by LEGO, all opinions are my own. Now let's finally get into it. We'll go into the specs and pricing in a sec, but first, this box, guys, it looks killer. It's huge, obviously, and besides it being an 18+ set, the black box style works particularly well for a Batman-themed set like this. It is super clean. We've got the Animated Series logo in the corner there, along with some other stuff. On top, the included minifigures are shown, looks very cool on that rooftop balcony there. And the back, as usual, shows off some features, dimensions, and some more details you otherwise wouldn't know about. Time to open up this bad boy, because I am beyond excited. Inside are a whopping 44 numbered bags. That is insane, and they look very nice and colorful. And not only that, you also find 3 unnumbered bags filled with large red plates. We also get a sticker sheet with 64 stickers, very interesting, and 2 thick instruction manuals. Let's go and put this thing together and go into detail about everything. First, the objective information about set 76271, Batman the Animated Series Gotham City. This set came out April 1st this year for insiders and April 4th for everyone else. It includes a staggering 4,210 LEGO pieces and retails for $300, 300 euros, 260 pounds and 500 Australian. This brings us to a value of just 7 cents, which seems great. There's a ton of small pieces included though, but also a few really large ones. So then of course, technically weight is the fairest way to determine value, and with it weighing 2,759 grams, you're paying about 11 cents per gram of LEGO. That also isn't a lot. 14 to 16 cents is what I usually see. It comes with 4 brand new minifigures, all of which look incredible. Here's the spare parts I ended up with, and because there are so many separate bags, you naturally get quite a lot. Finally, the instruction booklets combined have a total of 620 pages. That's insane. Now, this version of Gotham City is based on the one we see, take a guess, in Batman the Animated Series. It's got a very distinct style, mostly with the iconic red skies, the industrial looking buildings. It is quite timeless. As we get deeper into the details, I'll be referencing scenes, characters and other stuff from the series, so you know exactly how it all relates. Now, before talking about the building experience, first let's take a look at the minifigures that are included. Super quick break, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, consider subscribing. I'm really trying to get more into LEGO after doing Photoshop on YouTube for like 4 years, and I would just love for this channel to grow a bit bigger as well. If you're interested, you can also become a member to get early access to my videos if that is something you're interested in. But whether you're a paying member or not, your support means the absolute world to me, even if you're just watching. So, well, I guess onto the video. Here we have the legend himself, the caped crusader Batman. He looks awesome, utilizing a double-sided cape that's blue on the inside, very accurate and very cool. This Batman cowl I think looks pretty sick as well. It's dual molded, so the white in his eyes really pops. The torso printing is very simplistic, but it's exactly what you'd expect from a figure from an animated show. Then his legs, also dual molded, and the black printing on it looks just absolutely fine. Here's a quick look at the back side of him. Nothing special, but underneath his mask is just a simple Bruce Wayne face with an angry expression as a secondary face. Super neat figure, I absolutely love it. Next, Catwoman, I think my least favorite of these characters, but still looks really good here. You've got the ears on top and her face printing looks really good. Dual molded legs, again, LEGO did not cheap out with these figures, it's crazy. And well, the overall printing, it's nice, what can I say, it's pretty much spot on. Finally, she comes with a diamond and a black rubbery whip piece. Harley Quinn also looks just incredible. The red pops so nicely, the simplicity, the details, it is all just there. The white printing on her face is surprisingly vivid, I would say. It's not 100% perfect, but I don't think we should complain about this. She has a secondary face as well and comes with her gun, a very simple little build. It works beautifully. Very, very cool, iconic figure. I love it. And finally, the one and only Joker, definitely my favorite of the bunch. His truly iconic lilac-colored outfit, the print just looks super good. His face also is spot on with the black around his eyes. He's got a very dark green hairpiece and a second face on the back. This one is just really cool. I love it. I don't know what to say. It's great. These figures come with a little rooftop stand. It is simple but really nice looking, and there's even some little brick-built gargoyles on each side. It's just a little something extra to present your figures in a nice way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the building experience. The very first thing you're met with is, like more 18+ sets, you're introduced to the set. We've got some information over here about the designers, some Easter eggs. Feel free to pause if you'd like to have a read. And then once you begin building, you quickly notice that whenever you open a new bag, there's an episode from the show referenced at the top. This usually means what you're about to build is in some way connected to those episodes. Sometimes it's kind of vague, but other times it's very obvious, like the botanical gardens from Pretty Poison or the clock tower from the Clock King episode. Such a cool detail. I love this passionately. As far as the actual building goes, this was just incredible. You're building so many varying elements. There's hardly any repetitiveness here, besides some of the clouds in the sky maybe. Putting all these things together is so much fun, really as if you're building a city. Absolute 10 out of 10 here. What's also worth noting is that you can very easily build this with a friend, because both booklets really build half the set. It's only at the very end where they come together and the final little details are added. A pretty unique way to do this in my opinion, I like it. In total I spent more or less 7 hours putting this beast together. What a majestic build. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to show you here. It's honestly quite overwhelming, but let's begin with the dimensions. It measures 41 centimeters high, 6 centimeters deep, and 76 centimeters in width. That is truly massive, especially when you hold it in real life. It's crazy stuff. I didn't expect that. Now, I don't really know where to begin, but I guess let's first talk about the overall look of this set. Most notably, the red sky, which of course is crucial for the looks of this city, with a bunch of dark red clouds done by using simple plating. That looks incredible. The thing as a whole is nicely surrounded with a black edge which goes all the way across the bottom as well. It gives it a super clean look and makes place for the big Batman sign at the top, which is all brick built from little tiles. This was done very, very, very cleverly. If we're gonna nitpick, the letter M is a tad too wide compared to the real thing, but overall it's impressive how well they recreated the shaping of the letters. That's awesome. That's very cool. The city as a whole, without going into it, looks just awesome, to be real. The amount of detail and cool design choices is truly admirable, and the whole thing makes for a super cool looking art piece to display. Now, without further ado, I suppose let's dive deep into all the details here, because there's plenty of stuff to cover. We'll begin at the right side, because that's where you'll begin building as well. The first building we're met with is Wayne Manor, and it looks just like in the animated series. It's a rather classic version of the building, and LEGO captured its essence very, very well, especially the shaping of the roof. There's a pathway leading up to the building with on the side 2 little gravestones referencing the resting place of Thomas and Martha Wayne, which we also see on these grounds in the show. And if you remove this wedge plate, you can actually see their caskets lying underneath. That is insane. Right above is the moon covered by some clouds, very creatively done in my opinion. Now, the front of Wayne Manor can be removed, revealing the interior, and this is where our first official character reference is, Alfred, holding a beverage. Next to him are some doors, and I love the use of these ingot pieces for the doors. They use that a ton throughout this set. And on the left is the grandfather clock with a tiny little printed tile, which of course is the entrance to the Batcave. Nice touch. Right below Wayne Manor is the stacked deck building, and really all the text and logos here are done using stickers for this set. It looks nice and accurate to what we see on screen as well, making an appearance in the episode Batgirl Returns. Right next to that is the Wild Deuce, where Two-Face and his fiancée Grace meet up in secret after the accident Harvey Dent suffered in the Two-Face episodes. It is actually baffling the amount of stuff that's in this tiny corner, but let's continue. This whole section actually can be removed as well, revealing the one and only Batgirl Batcave, right below Wayne Manor. Batman's hideout, which we see literally countless of times in the animated series. Inside of the Batcave is the Batmobile, which is looking really nice and fresh, utilizing the earth blue color, and it's crazy that even at this scale it looks accurate to what it's based on. It is a very cool design originally, so it's super cool to get a bigger version of this vehicle in the near future. Behind that are Batgirl and Robin running towards us, 2 more character references to add to the list. And on their left is Batman's computer, looking very nice there, once again, a sticker. In the corner here, there's also the giant penny from the episode Almost Got Him. Another very niche and specific Easter egg. I love these. Finally, in this little area, we have one last reference, the laughing fish sign on the side. It is so specific, I'm actually blown away. This is from the opening shot of the episode with the same name, Laughing Fish. Next, ladies and gentlemen, this tiny building says Polly's and is based on the Fat Polly's pool hall. It looks just like the way we see it in the episode I've Got a Batman in My Basement. We only see it for a little bit of time though. It's got the doors and the windows, and it even has a little pool sign hanging from the side. Really fun and well done, and most of all, accurate. Right above is the Riddler building with a giant question mark covered up by some metal bars. This building isn't a recreation of a specific one from the show, but the episode reference in the booklet is Riddler's Reform. I'm assuming it's loosely based on what we see in there. We have some pretty cool detailing on the roof there and a large metal bar piece covering up the green question mark. If you take this whole front piece off, you can see the Riddler himself with his staff. I really like the design of this, especially with the different color it brings to the table. Now next, above that building is the super tall Galaxy Broadcasting building, along with some generic black buildings in the back. We see this building first in Feet of Clay, where Clayface faces off with Batman. For this one, again, you can remove the top, which reveals Clayface surrounded with a bunch of screens that Batman uses to defeat him eventually. It's a pretty wild episode, I particularly enjoyed this one. But there's more to it here, because below is another section that can be removed, and this is actually where you want to hang it up on. Right here is where a nail would be sticking through with another one on the other side. I think it's super cool they included this, so you can choose whether you want to hang it up or just have it sitting down. Later I'll show you how you can actually hang it up yourself. Anyway, moving back down, we've got the Pussykins Pet Food Factory with the recognizable neon sign stickered on there. This is where Catwoman was about to be cut to bits by Harley Quinn in the episode Almost Got Him. But of course, Batman saves the day. It's a simple but nice looking building overall. Usual windows, etc. If you remove the front, on the inside we find, guess who? Catwoman surrounded by a bunch of cat food. Seems appropriate. And worth noting, these little tiles are printed. Right below is the Gotham City Courthouse. We see this building briefly in Shadow of the Bat Part 1 and 2, but not in too much detail, unfortunately. The design is very cool though. I love these pillars, and most notably these stairs are done with this crazy technique. I absolutely love that. They're accompanied by what are supposed to be 2 lion statues on either side, except this time they're frogs. Imagine Lego using frogs as actual frogs. It's a good solution though. I love this kind of creativity in Lego. Moving towards the left, we arrive at the GothCorp building, which utilizes a bunch of those ingot pieces and some larger stickers for the signs. In the episode Heart of Ice, Mr. Freeze resides in this building, hence all the icy details on the side of the building. If the front is removed, even more mayhem reveals itself. Mr. Freeze himself with little icy details up top, and the freezing chamber that Nora is inside of. Very tragic. There's a recording Summer Gleason present as well. Behind this building is a super tall one, which doesn't appear to be any specific design, but it does look like several buildings we see throughout the show, so that's pretty solid either way. At the very bottom sits the Gotham City Opera building, with a large poster smacked on it and a sign that says coming soon. In the episode Birds of a Feather, we see this building in all its glory, and it looks quite like it. We're getting some really nice tall windows and lots of rounded shaping, and since this episode revolved around the Penguin, guess who's inside on stage? The Penguin. Behind the opera is a building I'm pretty sure is supposed to be this building we see in Fear of Victory. It's not super accurate maybe, but it's nice that they didn't just fill this up with too many generic buildings and instead a unique looking one. I really like the statues on top. Now, in the very background, arguably the most iconic building of them all, featured in the very intro of the series. The building itself is absolutely nothing special, it's just a black tall structure with loads and loads of little windows. But of course, Batman standing on top is the highlight here. Very, very cool they included this, absolutely fantastic. If we move back down, we find the Gotham City Police Department, which is featured in a number of episodes. They managed to get the diagonal shapes on the front there, which came out great, and all the lights on the side make it stand out a little as well. On the roof of the station is the bat signal, a really cute little design, and as you've probably noticed, it's been switched on. It shines brightly across the sky above. This really is an unmissable detail, and I just need it to be in here, and it is. The light beam goes behind the buildings, however, but let's forgive him that because this still looks killer. Some might say the bat symbol itself would have looked a tad better if it were flame yellow like the bricks they used for the beam, but I kind of like it like this. It shines brightest onto the clouds after all, whilst the light beam itself is a bit dimmer. That's technically realistic. Either way, it is a printed piece in this sea of stickers, so that's nice at least. The front, as expected, can be removed, revealing the interior of the station with inside our favorite detectives, Renee Montoya on the left in front of her desk, Harvey Bullock in the center, there also with a desk behind him, and on the right, our boy James Gordon on the phone with his fancy hairstyle. Loving that. The stickers combined spell out GCPD, Gotham City Police Department, and on the ceiling is even a very tiny little fan. Awesome. Pretty much in the center of the whole thing is the Wayne Enterprises Tower, which also is featured in various episodes. I don't think it needs much introduction, really we all know what this is. Once again, with the tall windows it looks awesome, and a really nice sticker on top with WE on it for Wayne Enterprises. Truly iconic building, could not have missed it. Now let us go back down. This is where we're gonna find the museum as featured in the episode Nothing to Fear. We only see the exterior briefly though. The design is really nice. I love the hot dog pieces for these round elements on top. And again, some frogs for gargoyles, really nice stuff. The pillars stand out nicely. We have some bushes at the bottom. Just a really solid little structure. Inside are the Scarecrow, another big character, and as always messing around with his fear toxin in the form of this red smoke we see on the right side. On the left, however, is Ra's al Ghul with his sword in hand, next to what I believe should be a sarcophagus. It would make the most sense, but I could be wrong there. Right behind the museum you can find the hospital we see countless times throughout Batman's adventures, and it looks pretty much the same. It's got a slightly different style than most other buildings, which brings some variety into the mix. It's rather simplistic compared to most. And I love the use of these shaped tiles for the cross. It looks much better than if it were just separate square tiles, for example. If you remove the front, Two-Face reveals himself with his Tommy gun in hand and a flipping coin, of course. It makes sense that we find him here, since this is where he ended up after half his face got blown to bits in the Two-Face episodes. Also worth mentioning is this tiny little water tower design. Looks nice, just kind of to fill up this empty area, I suppose. The building behind all these I actually found in the show as well, in the Cat and the Claw episode. It is where Catwoman lives. Her apartment is in this building. And they really nailed the aesthetic of the design using those very unique diamond-like elements. Super cool. But anyway, moving on to the next thing, the Diamond Exchange building, which we see very, very briefly in The Man Who Killed Batman. And it also blows up. The exterior of the building is very nice, definitely one of my favorites with how these center areas look. It's just a very cool design. Now, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are inside together, which I found slightly confusing. During the episode Harley and Ivy, they do team up, but I don't really see what that has to do with this building. They both look nice though, and in this little room are elements that fit with their themes. Some little plants and vines for Poison Ivy, and diamonds and red and black patterns for Harley Quinn. Fun details. Next, ladies and gentlemen, the Laugh Palace, one of the most extravagant buildings out here based on what we see in the episode Make 'Em Laugh. All the stickers and text add so much detail to it to make it look accurate, and the angle of the front area is a nice touch in my opinion. Overall, I'd say this is one of the nicer looking buildings. If we remove this section, inside we find the Condiment King, a very strange villain, but hey, there's room for everyone. He's shooting his mustard and ketchup guns, really creatively done here, and fun to see this little scene play out from the show. Now on the outside, at the very bottom, is also a poster of the Grey Ghost. That is really cool to see. I personally loved the Grey Ghost episode, and it's another very unique character inclusion you wouldn't really expect. Above the Laugh Palace is the Clock Tower, one of the cooler references in my personal opinion, featured in the episode The Clock King. During the episode, the Clock King himself tries to take revenge on someone he thinks is the reason for his misfortune by crushing him between two clock pointers. At 3:15, he'd be crushed. It is a very simple but solid design. They use some of those crate pieces, which looks kind of cool. And when removed inside, guess who will find? The Clock King himself, surrounded with some little clocks and next to him some some gears. That is also a very nice inclusion. The clock is about to strike 3:15 also, that's really good stuff. Behind it all are some more tall buildings, dark black ones in the back, and this huge one that houses the second wall mounting point inside. The very next big thing is Ace Chemical, the giant factory where the most iconic Batman villain's origin story takes place. The building looks really good, like a factory really. I love the sticker that says Ace Chemical over here. And I mean, the bananas as smoke is genius, it really sells well on the final product. Inside this building, guess what, is the Joker himself, and this is basically his little origin story scene where Jack Napier falls into the acid and becomes the one and only clown prince of crime, the Joker. I really love this bit in particular, it's so cool. Directly underneath, we arrive at what I believe as a whole is supposed to be Amusement Mile, Gotham's fun fair, which is heavily featured in the episode Be a Clown. It's a very fun episode. But they put a twist on this with this large Joker face, which looks sick. This is fantastic. It adds so much color and variety to the whole thing once again. What specifically this is from, I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's the large Joker head from Joker's Wild, since that's the episode that's referenced in the instruction booklet. There are signs saying Joker's amusement area underneath the face, along with the entrance and a fence. And this Ferris wheel design, it looks super good, much better than the one we see in the London diorama. That bothered me a lot. This one is nice though, it's got the supports and everything, really good stuff. Now, on the far left are the final two structures. Let's begin up top, Arkham Asylum. It wouldn't be complete without this. It's featured in a number of episodes and they nailed the look and style beautifully. The windows kind of look like metal bars, which is great, and we get little stickers for Arkham both on the fence and the entrance. It's very fancy. Not only does it look nice from the outside, if you remove this section, you can see inside are prison cells with prisoners. From left to right, Scarface and the Ventriloquist, Baby Doll, the Mad Hatter, and the Man-Bat. And hidden on the right is Lockup as well. Crazy lineup over here, and of course Arkham is a nice way to put them if you don't know where else, right? It's also very cool they're behind glass this time though, really makes them feel like a bunch of prisoners. Moving on to the final building, the Botanical Gardens, as featured in the episode Pretty Poison. I was really surprised they didn't put Poison Ivy in here as it's her debut episode. It seems to make more sense than the Diamond Exchange building to me, but nonetheless it looks really neat and colorful using trans blue pieces for the windows, and you can actually take the big one off pretty easily to get a better look at the plants inside. This also brings me to the final piece that is to be removed, revealing the sewers of Gotham. We have quite a bunch of water, a little stairway up, and some more character references in the form of Killer Croc with a rock in his hand, referencing this very brief moment.
He was getting closer, closer. And? I threw a rock at him.
Along with the one and only Bane. Couldn't forget about him. There also is a rubber duck, which is a subtle reference to the penguin in Birds of a Feather. Just amazing. The attention to detail overall is just crazy. Let's take to the skies real quick, because there's quite some stuff flying around. First off, over here we have the Batwing in its intended spot. Super iconic vehicle from the series, which every now and then just pops up to steal the show. For its tiny size, it really quite looks like it, so that's awesome. If you want, you can put it really anywhere on the set you like, whatever floats your boat, but this here is its intended spot. These red parts over here allow for the angled position. The rest of the cloudy sky is filled with blimps. A few large ones which are designed just perfectly. I love the police sticker and the roundness of them. These are featured in the very first episode already on Leather Wings, which definitely kind of sets the tone for the rest of the series as well. There are also some tiny ones in the distance spread out over the surface of the set to fill it up even more, and this brings some depth into it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Let me just say, wow. The amount of detail, love, effort that went into the references and context alone seems unmatched in any other LEGO set I've ever seen. I'm truly baffled. Now let me quickly demonstrate hanging this up on your wall. Basically, all you want to do is mark the points on your wall with the correct width between them, whilst making sure it's all level, of course. And then all that's left to do is smashing in those nails or drilling the screws, and voila. It actually makes it so much easier that you can access these holes from the front. That is a great feature they included. And guys, I mean, it looks super cool on the wall, much more unique than just a normal painting if you ask me. But what did you expect? Or if you just want to set it down on a surface, there are little supports on the back that can be extended to keep it steady, so it doesn't necessarily have to lean against a wall. It can absolutely stand on its own with relative stability. And that brings me neatly along to the build quality and sturdiness. It looks rather fragile at first, but in the end it's actually really quite strong and definitely won't fall apart on you. It's easily handleable and, well, just a solid structure. Definitely scores high on the sturdometer. This is one of those moments where I'm really not super sure what to say. I love this thing to bits, it is incredible. I do, however, have some final thoughts I would like to share with you. As majestic as this set looks, and as unique of a concept it is, I can't help but question what made LEGO decide to make this particular set at this scale specifically. Batman the Animated Series is obviously popular, but this set goes into detail to such an extent that for you to fully understand what you're building, you have to have seen the show, preferably recently as well. I had to look up a ton of stuff to make sure I got it right, and then still I'm not sure I have everything. It is really kind of niche, and while that on its own is absolutely no problem at all, the price of this LEGO set is what I feel might be an issue. Sure, there's gonna be plenty of fans of the show, but are there enough people willing to spend $300 on something like this? As you probably understand, I love this set passionately now, but it's only after I've gotten into the series that I can appreciate it for what it is, and the fact that I review LEGO. Even if I wasn't interested in Batman at all, I still might have picked it up just to make a video about it, but would I have bought it otherwise? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. Is it technically worth $300? I think absolutely yes. Both the weight and piece count tells me that this is a solid deal as far as LEGO products go. However, you also gotta take into consideration what actually you are buying. A relatively flat model that is really just a piece of art rather than a traditional LEGO structure you might be used to. It is not for everyone, I can imagine, but for those who are into this, it really is a dream come true. Now, let's check out the pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
First of all, the amount of details and references are baffling, no need to say more about that, it is quite obvious. The design itself is really striking too, colorful, unique design techniques and just a super nice looking build. And of course, the minifigures are such a cool addition to an already amazing product, definitely has to be said. As for cons, there are a ton of stickers. I understand why printing all of this would be an absolute nightmare production-wise, but it's worth mentioning. After all, you are paying a premium price. Secondly, like I said, it's not for everyone. It's kind of niche in both theme and concept. You either love it or you hate it, I guess. And finally, this might be a nitpick, but the set has absolutely zero playability. If you're looking for that kind of a set, this is a hard pass. I guess only the minifigures offer some, but I sure hope you're not gonna pay $300 just to play with 4 minifigures. But really, these all feel like nitpicks because overall it's just a fantastic set. You just have to be into it, that's all. Ladies and gentlemen, I keep saying it, I'm blown away. I love having this in my collection, and in general it's nice to step into DC LEGO for a change. But then I guess for today that is it. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, maybe check out this video on screen right now. And then I hope I'll see you in the next one.